Eye of the Beholder is a classic episode from the original Twilight Zone TV series. Originally broadcast November 11th, 1960, Eye of the Beholder was directed by Douglas Hayes and written by Rod Serling, and is often cited as being one of the best, or the best episode of the entire series. A young woman named Janet Tyler awaits the results of an experimental procedure to help make her look what she considers to be normal.
It's pretty bad, isn't it? Oh, I know it's pretty bad.
She reminisces of her childhood and her first memory of a young girl who saw her and screamed because of how ugly she was. Janet never wanted to be what she considered beautiful, she just wanted to be normal.
I just wanted people not to scream when they looked at me.
Janet is desperate to remove her bandages, but her nurse tells her why the rush. She's looked like this her whole life, so what's another day or week? The nurse reports to Janet's doctor, and he says he'll be down to see Janet shortly. In the meantime, they're going to enjoy some cigarettes while they talk about just how horrible looking Janet is.
Ever see her face, 307?
If it were mine, I'd bury myself in a grave someplace.
The strange thing you'll notice right away is they never show the faces of the nurses or doctors, relegating everything to shadows or being off screen. Rod Serling comes in introducing the episode, and it only took 4 minutes this time compared to the last episode. The doctor comes into Janet's room and assures her the bandages will be coming off very soon, but she's grown kinda used to them because this has been her 11th visit to cure her of her misfortune.
Nobody can ever see me. It's hopeless, isn't it, Doctor? I'll never look any differently.
Despite 11 visits, none of the shots or medications seem to have any kind of effect on Janet's deformities.
11 is the mandatory number of experiments. We're not permitted to do any more after 11.
Despite this being the last treatment they're able to do, the doctor is still hopeful that it will take this time. But if they don't, the doctor does hint at some darker alternatives, and now I'm starting to wonder if this episode takes place in Canada. The doctor is also getting really close to having a lawsuit dropped on him. The doctor tells her that even if the treatment doesn't take, there are many more people out there like her, and another alternative she can take is to move into a special area along with others like her, away from normal society.
Now you know you can't expect to live any kind of a life among normal people.
Janet just wants to live a normal life and wants to know why she's being punished by a state that sees her as a freak. She begs and pleads the doctor to just remove her bandages, causing nurses to come running and help the doctor restrain her.
All right, then I will take the bandages off. Get the anesthetist.
Good doctor.
This whole case has been stressing the doctor out, and despite everything that has gone on, he's still hopeful the procedure will take this time. The nurse believes he's getting too involved emotionally and needs to distance himself from the situation.
Why shouldn't people be allowed to be different? Why?
Doctor, be careful.
Even the doctor just saying these things is considered an act of treason, and he could be locked away if anyone heard. This alternate world is ran by a leader who believes everyone should be the same and should conform to one thought, to one look, kind of like a hive mind. And people like Janet are seen as a disease not fit for normal society.
I'm going to cut the bandages a section at a time, then I'm going to unwrap the bandages.
The doctor instructs her that while he cuts off each layer of the wrap, he wants her to tell him how much light she can see, but if she begins to become hysterical, he will have no choice but to have her sedated.
Oh, yes, it's very bright.
Good.
The doctor is about to cut off the last layer of the bandage when he asks her if she would like a mirror, but after seeing how the Joker reacted in Batman 89, I don't think that's the best idea. The doctor tells Janet he's about to remove the last bandage, but she needs to remember if the procedure took, then there's no worry. She can go about living her life in normal society. However, if it hasn't, then she'll have to be segregated with others just like her.
Well, is there any other alternative? Could I please be put away?
Even though she wants to take the Canadian way out if the treatment doesn't work, the doctor tells her he won't be permitted, and instead she'll be moved to a communal group of people just like her. The doctor removes the last of the bandages, and we're going to pause right here for a second. Now, I've never done this before, but if you have any young children, could you please remove them? Because this is the most horrifying thing you will ever see.
No change at all.
Oh my god, I think I'm gonna be sick. No, the treatment didn't take, but thankfully the doctor and nurses look normal, so I don't have to look at that disgusting Janet. They try to sedate Janet, but she takes off running as propaganda from the leader plays overhead.
essential in this society that we not only have a norm, but that we conform to that norm.
Janet has had just about all she can take from the leader though. She runs into a room where she's confronted by a hideous, disgusting man who has come to take her to the commune. The doctor tries telling her the man won't hurt her, but he's just so hideous it's hard to take the doctor seriously.
Now, this is Mr. Smith. Mr. Walter Smith.
See, I wasn't lying about just how hideous this man is, now was I? Mr. Walter Smith has been sent to take Janet to her new home, and I can understand why she's so hesitant. I mean, those chiseled good looks and well-defined arms are just so nasty to look at. He tries calming her down, telling her she will find a sense of great belonging and a sense of being loved once she's with her own people.
Why do we have to look like this?
I don't know, Miss Tyler. I really don't know.
Walter tells her to say over and over again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, taking her hand and escorting her to her new home away from normal society. The Eye of the Beholder is a fantastic episode and one with a message that rings true even today. For the first 19 minutes, not a single face is shown, and this terrified producer Buck Houghton, who just couldn't fathom pulling off a 24-minute episode where the faces aren't revealed until the very end. But he knew director Douglas Hayes would be perfect to pull off such an interesting script. Hayes played a lot with movement and shadow to keep the viewer's attention and keep them from asking questions like, why aren't they showing anyone's face? I will say though, because of this stunningly beautiful Blu-ray transfer, you are able to see a lot more than I'm sure was originally intended. Take for instance the nurse in the very beginning of the episode. She walks in shrouded in the darkness, but because of how clear the image is, you can clearly see she's perfectly normal looking. I'm sure with older TVs and during its initial broadcast, this wouldn't have been noticed by the people watching at home. Douglas Hayes also spent a lot of time focusing more on Janet herself than those around her, keeping everyone else and how they looked a mystery to the audience. Though the episode is called Eye of the Beholder, its title was changed after its initial broadcast to that of The Private World of Darkness. The reason for this was because a producer for General Electric Theatre named Stuart Reynolds threatened to sue Rod Serling and the production company as he had released an episode for his show just 7 years prior called The Eye of the Beholder, and he was trying to shop it around to schools as an educational film. So to avoid any kind of litigation, Rod Serling retitled the episode during its next broadcast in 1962. The episode is still released under both names to this day, and many rebroadcasts will have it under The Private World of Darkness and not Eye of the Beholder. The lead role of Janet was played by two actresses, the first being Maxine Stewart, a former radio actress who the director felt had the coarse and textured voice necessary for the sympathetic role of Janet. Hayes had actresses audition with their backs to him so he could hear and feel what the audience would during the episode. The second actress was Donna Douglas, who would play the role of Janet after the bandages were removed. The reasoning for the two different actresses was because even though Maxine had the voice, they wanted Janet to be strikingly beautiful when contrasted against the almost pig-like people. Given the message of the episode, it is kind of funny that they didn't think Maxine was attractive enough to be revealed as Janet and instead needed Ellie Mae Clampett from the Beverly Hillbillies. There is a bit of controversy though as to who spoke when Janet was out of the bandages. According to Maxine, she recorded the lines which were used to dub over Donna, and she claims this was used for the final cut. However, according to both Donna and director Douglas Hayes, they both claim Donna had learned how to replicate Maxine's speech pattern well enough that she was able to speak the lines herself in a convincing enough manner.
But then when they finally cornered the character, I wasn't pretty enough, so they used Donna Douglas.
The makeup effects for the pig people was done by then head of MGM makeup department William Tuttle. Due to cost and time constraints, he had to forgo the usual process of casting each and every actor to make an appliance and instead only did 3, 2 male and 1 female. This worked though, as the idea was to create conformity in the makeups, which was also part of the theme of the episode. The male makeup had a more pronounced brow and a nose that stuck out a bit more, while the female makeups had a more streamlined look, with the nose being more upturned and not extending out as much as the males. The unveiling of Janet has been spoofed and referenced in many shows and movies over the years, with a near recreation in the show Futurama. You can also see a reference to it in the Simpsons episode Homie the Clown. Like I mentioned earlier, I do believe Tim Burton took influence from this scene for the scene when Joker sees himself in the mirror after his accident, but I can't find anything to back this up. From the removing of the bandages and the mention of the mirror, it would not surprise me one bit. Tim Burton is known for taking influence from old horror and sci-fi media, so I don't think it's a stretch to think he may have been inspired by this episode. Eye of the Beholder is a fantastically written and directed episode with themes that carry on through today. I highly recommend you watch this one if you've never seen it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please subscribe if you did and leave a like. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts on Eye of the Beholder. Thank you for watching and join me again for more Twilight Zone.